Hi. So for question 5a, we've been asked to solve this equation. Okay. Now I have an indice in this equation, and in order to use my indice laws, everything needs to be to the same base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make everything in this equation to base 2. Okay, so I can say that 2 to the power of y is equal to 2 cubed. Okay, because I know that 2 cubed is 8. I can now just compare the indices on both these two and say that therefore y is equal to 3. Okay? So moving on to part B, we have a similar situation, except the equation is just a little bit longer and it's a little bit more involved. But it's going to be the same strategy. Okay, we're going to get everything to base 2 so that we can work with it. Okay, and then we can use our indice laws to manipulate this equation and then compare indices to solve for x. Okay, so I'm going to leave the 2 as it is because it's already in base 2. And I can change the 4 to 2 squared. Okay? So I know that 2 squared is equal to 4. Still raised to the power of x plus 1. And that equals 2 cubed. Because again, I know the link between 8 and 2 is you cube 2 and you get 8. Okay, now I know when I have a power raised to another power, you multiply the two powers together. So on my next line, I'm going to say 2 to the power of x times by 2 to the power of 2 bracket x plus 1. Okay, and it's important that I use the brackets here because the 2 is not only being multiplied by the x, it's being multiplied by the 1 as well. Okay, so that bracket is essential. Now I can begin to use my indice rules. I know that when I times two things together that have the same base, which they do, you add the indices. So I can replace this with 2 raised to the power of x, add 2 bracket x plus 1, and that's still equal to 2 to the power of 3. Okay? I can now therefore say, just by comparing the two indices, that x plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 3. Okay? Now I just have a linear equation and I can solve for x. So I'm going to expand the brackets and I get 2 times x is 2x and 2 times 1 is 2, and that equals 3. And now x plus 2x is 3x, and if I minus 2 from both sides of this equation, 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, so now I can just divide both sides of this equation in order to isolate x. So I get x equals a third. Okay? And that's the answer. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you followed, and I'll see you in question 6.